Have you ever felt lost in the crowd of life? Walking through your days like a ship without a compass? Surrounded by noise but lacking direction? Let me share something with you that happened just last week. I was sitting in a busy coffee shop watching people rush by when I noticed something extraordinary. In a span of just 5 minutes, every single person who walked in immediately reached for their phone, like they were afraid to be alone with their thoughts for even a moment. And in that observation, I recognized a profound truth about our modern world. You see, we're living in what I call the age of noise. We're more connected than ever, yet somehow more disconnected from ourselves. We're so busy responding to everyone else's life that we've forgotten to live our own. But what if I told you that the very thing you're running from, that moment of solitude, that quiet space of self-reflection, is exactly where your greatest power lies? Theme introductionlet. May take you back to a moment that changed my life forever. 3 years ago, I found myself in what I now call my sacred crisis. My company had just failed, my relationships were in shambles, and most importantly, I had no idea who I was anymore. I remember sitting in my empty apartment, surrounded by the ruins of what I thought was success. No notifications, no meetings, no distractions. Just me in the deafening silence of my own thoughts. And in that moment, something profound happened. I discovered that the very solitude I had been running from was actually the doorway to my greatest transformation. You see, life has a funny way of stripping away everything that isn't essential until you're forced to face the most important question of all. What is your true mission? Not your parents' dreams for you, not society's expectations. Your mission. Main content the mission discovery process. Let's talk about something most people never discuss. How often do we see individuals drifting through life without a clear mission, like leaves in the wind, moved by every trend, every opinion, every external force? But here's the truth. Your mission can only be discovered in solitude. Think about this. Every great leader in history had their moment of solitude. Martin Luther King Jr. had his kitchen table revelation. Nelson Mandela had his prison cell. Mother Teresa had her call within a call. These weren't just moments of isolation. They were sacred appointments with destiny. I remember working with Sarah, a high-powered executive who seemed to have it all. But, she confided during our first session, I feel like I'm living someone else's life. We started with what I call the mission mining processes. 3 hours of complete solitude, no phone, no internet, just 3 powerful questions. What breaks your heart about the world? What makes you come alive? If all possibility of failure was removed, what would you do? The answers that emerged in that silence changed the trajectory of her entire life. Challenge. Take these 3 questions into your own moment of solitude. No music, no distractions, just you and your truth. What whispers emerge when you finally listen? The power of clear intent. There's a truth that might shake you. As the commander of your own life, you need absolute clarity of intent. But that clarity, it only comes in silence. I worked with a young entrepreneur who was struggling with his business. I'm working harder than ever, he told me. But I feel like I'm going nowhere. When we dug deeper, we discovered he had never taken the time to clarify his true mission. He was climbing the ladder of success, only to find it was leaning against the wrong wall. We implemented what I call the daily silence ritual. 20 minutes every morning, just him and his thoughts, asking one simple question: what is my deepest intention for today? Within 3 months, his business had completely transformed, not because he was working harder, but because he was finally working with clarity of purpose. The art of self-comparison. Here's a revolutionary thought that emerges in solitude. The only person you need to compare yourself to is you from yesterday. Think about that for a moment. In a world obsessed with social media comparisons, this is radical thinking. Let me tell you about Marcus, an artist who was paralyzed by comparison. Every time I opened Instagram, he told me, I felt like giving up. Everyone seemed so far ahead. His breakthrough came when he committed to what I call the Solitude Challenge. 30 days of creating art without sharing it online. Something magical happened, he shared. Without the constant comparison, I started creating for myself again. My only competition was my previous work. And that's when his most authentic and powerful pieces emerged. Exercise. Take out your journal right now. Write down 3 specific areas where you want to improve, not compared to anyone else, just compared to who you were yesterday. What small step can you take in each area today? The power of incremental growth in the silence of solitude, a profound truth emerges. Unstoppable progress comes not from giant leaps, but from tiny, consistent steps. Think of it like building a masterpiece, one brushstroke at a time. I remember working with Lisa, a writer who dreamed of writing a novel but felt overwhelmed by the task. 400 pages, she said. It feels impossible. We broke it down into what I call the Power Hour, 1 hour of complete solitude each morning, focused solely on writing. No phone, no email, no distractions, just her and her words. The first few days were torture, she admitted, but then something shifted. The silence became my ally, not my enemy. 1 year later, her novel was complete, not because she did something extraordinary, but because she did something ordinary every day. In solitude, the sacred space of goal setting, let me share something powerful with you. Your goals affect everything about you, your handshake, your walk, your talk, even the way you dress. But here's the catch. True goal setting can only happen in solitude. Think about it. How can you hear your own dreams when you're constantly listening to everyone else's opinions? This is why I created what I call the Dream Room Protocol. Take Jennifer, a corporate executive who felt stuck in her career. We set up her dream room, a dedicated space in her home where she spent 1 hour every Sunday in complete solitude. No phone, no family, no interruptions. Just her and her dreams. At first it felt self-indulgent, she shared. But then I realized this wasn't selfish, it was sacred. This was where I could finally hear my own voice. The protocol is simple but powerful. Find your space. It could be a room, a park bench, anywhere you can be truly alone. Set a non-negotiable time. Mark it in your calendar like a meeting with destiny. Bring only a journal and pen. Ask yourself these 3 questions. What do I want to create? What's holding me back? What's one step I can take today? The furnace of transformation hears a truth about solitude that most people don't want to hear. It will be challenging. You will face what I call the 3 dragons. The dragon of doubt. Am I wasting my time? The dragon of distraction. Maybe I should check my phone. The dragon of discomfort. This silence is unbearable. But remember this, just as a sword needs fire to be forged, your character needs solitude to be strengthened. Every great achievement in history was born in moments of solitary dedication. I think of Michael, a business owner who was working himself to exhaustion. I was always busy, he told me, but never productive. His transformation began when he implemented the sacred hour. 60 minutes of complete solitude every morning before opening his laptop. In that silence, he shared, I finally could distinguish between what was urgent and what was truly important. His business doubled in 18 months. Not because he worked more, but because he learned to work from a place of clarity. The power of standards over goals now. Let me share something that might challenge your thinking. In solitude, you discover that while goals are important, standards are crucial. Goals are what you want to achieve, but standards are who you choose to become. Think about it this way. You might not always achieve your goals, but you always live up to your standards. This is what I call the identity principle. Take Robert, a fitness enthusiast who struggled with consistency. Instead of setting a goal to work out 3 times a week, we helped him develop a new standard. I am someone who honors my body through movement. Notice the difference. One is about doing, the other about being. Exercise. In your next moment of solitude, ask yourself, what are my current standards? What standards would my ideal self have? What one standard can I raise today? Closing summary: your relationship with solitude will determine your relationship with success. Every great mission, every powerful goal, every lasting transformation, they all begin in moments of sacred silence. Remember, the quality of your external achievements will never exceed the quality of your internal dialogue. And that dialogue? It can only be refined in solitude. Inspirational ending as you leave here today. I challenge you to do something radical. Schedule a date with solitude. Whether it's 5 minutes or 5 hours, give yourself the gift of sacred silence. Because here's the truth. The world doesn't need more noisy achievers. It needs more thoughtful leaders who have done the deep, quiet work of discovering their true mission. Your greatest ideas, your most powerful insights, your true purpose, they're all waiting for you in the silence. Will you have the courage to meet them there? Share your solitude story in the comments below. Let's build a community of people who understand that sometimes the most powerful move we can make is to simply be still. Remember, in a world that profits from your noise, solitude is a revolutionary act. Your sacred silence awaits. What first step will you take today?